Hello, I'd like to buy a wheelbarrow, please.
No.
What?
We're not doing that again.
But I had this whole thing with wheelbarrows and...
Do it normally.
And I spent ages getting wheelbarrow shop noises.
Do it normally.
Fine. Let's see if I remember to take out the Herzog this week.
Get us.
That Happy New Year, everyone! Should old acquaintance be forgot? It's the 14th. And never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be... Eat, pray, love. I'm Paul Salt.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone.
That was Paul Goodman.
Yeah.
He'll deny it, but it was.
New Year's resolution, deny everything all the time.
New Year's resolution, no accountability.
Who said that?
No one. Yep, today we shall be discussing Eat, Pray, Love, just like the song said. It's all coming true.
You want to go away for a year? I used to have this appetite for my life, and it is just gone. I want to go someplace where I can marvel at something.
Yes! Thank you this week for the recommendation from Broad Appeal Podcast, the podcast looking back at female-driven films.
Ooh, that's a great title.
It is a great title. If you want a great idea, though, they should expand into podcasts so they could talk about a couple of babes like us.
Fuck yeah.
You bloody genuine woman, you.
Look at me draped over this car, Michael Bay style.
Anyway, thanks for this thing.
Yeah, fantastic. What a great thing you've done to us. Yeah, Eat, Pray, Love. It's directed by excellent TV dude Ryan Murphy, who's been involved in American Horror Story, American Crime Story, and Glee.
Oh.
Yes.
All the good ones.
All the good ones. He did this because Day Trilogy director Gary Marshall was up for doing it, but declined because he didn't want to leave the States to shoot stuff. I mean, I'd make fun of him for that, but Kubrick never wanted to leave England. But if Kubrick directed Eat, Pray, Love, which he would have done, he would have just made the Docklands look like Rome, India, and Mumbai. Oh, look at the Colosseum, a character would say, looking off screen.
And Gary Marshall just wouldn't have done it. He'd have brought in a few flat stereotypes to wear English pinstripe suits and just claim that this is what Delhi looks like now.
Isn't it great? We can film this all around my house. This voyage of discovery.
Follow me into my New Delhi kitchen in New Delhi. Then stock footage of a plane flying over the camera.
It's a kid's model that his son has fucking just flown over. It's a paper airplane. Meow. Did it crash? Maybe.
Thanks for joining me, Gary. You can't do that. Don't do that.
At least get Hank Azaria to do it.
He's game for anything.
That's fine, apparently. So, the film has 36% on Rotten Tomatoes, but 50% on Metacritic. So I guess most critics were just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, how that film.
Come by.
Peter Bradshaw.
I really wish I could do on demand that sound that like a sonar makes when it picks something up of just bang. Yeah. Love it.
What? Oh, you mean like the guy from Police Academy?
Yeah.
You wish you were the guy from Police Academy, basically.
Always,
which is the wish that you express at the beginning of every episode off air. You finally had a chance to display it to the world.
If only this fucking podcast was full of sound effects. I could make the world sing! I could summon entire worlds just through the medium of my voice. Look, a fawn that does frolic in the woods. See, I can't do it.
Yeah, I'd rather you didn't, mate.
Yeah. Song critics who definitely didn't feel that way. Lindy West over at The Strangler. It's an interesting... Writing from 70s horror film The Strangler. Says,
Fresh new joint.
Says, the unexamined privilege, the idealization and exotification of all places east, the canned spirituality, the sensual goddamn spaghetti. It's also focus group tested and Oprah approved and self-perpetuating and embarrassing. Also, please send help. I think he's getting through the door.
It's a risky venture, isn't it? And I applaud them for it.
A risky venture makes him sound like the East India Company or something. They just rocked up like, I've got a crazy venture. Listen to this, fellas. I've got Julia Roberts on board. How about Gary Marshall?
Well, you've got to go for the duo, haven't you? No, I do like the idea that she burst into the Wall Street Journal and went, "There's a guy outside my house. Literary journal startup?
Let's find
Everyone
out.
come around."
Hear ye. Oh, who's this now? Peter Travers at the Rolling Stone?
Ah,
We need to write this guy a theme.
I just did one.
Age tour. As I watched Gilbert swirl past her, pet an elephant, and visit an ashram, I kept wishing that Glee coach Sue Sylvester, Jane Lynch, my personal guru, would appear, her voice engorged with venom, and seriously puke in Gilbert's bromide-spouting mouth.
Jesus, Peter Travers.
Yeah, he's a bit of a one, isn't he? But I did have to Google bromide. There are two meanings, and I'm pretty sure I've picked up the right one here. I think what Peter Travers meant is that she vomited a compound of bromine with another element or group, especially a salt containing the anion Br, or an organic compound with bromine bonded on the I-kill radical. So fucking take that, Ryan Murphy.
I get it. Oh. Peter Travers, you belong in the 70s.
Ouch.
You're filth. You're utter filth.
You are. You're a long-lost love style reviewer. We don't like it. Stop it.
No. It all just sounds like sour grapes at this stage. It's like, oh, Elizabeth Gilbert having the means to go and change her life meaningfully. No, get back in the pen.
Back in your privilege. I do also want to include this clip of Mark Kermode revealing how he wished the film ended.
And actually what would have been really great is that at the end of the film, what the person had learned was, you know what? There is nothing but fear, desperation, and murder. I mean, actually, the last thing that should have happened, the last thing was she goes back to America, she goes to Hollywood, and Werner Herzog tells her that there is no God. The end.
I think we can all agree that's the case.
We all can, brothers and sisters, gather round. I am the one true Lord.
We had similarly mediocre reviews from Public, who gave it 5.8 on IMDb. So, meh, again. Tommy MT on Google said, "Hate Julia and the writer herself." Just that, smiley face.
Oh. Wait, the name again. Tommy MT. Empty.
Oh,
empty.
Shit, it's a riddle.
That's why he doesn't get it.
To Bali.
Come on, Tommy. Via Rome and then Swindon. Because in Swindon you must learn humility and work in a Wilco.
I just can't understand these prices. They're so low. I know. Oh my god.
Incidentally, you won't be getting paid this year.
You're saying I should learn to... You're saying I shouldn't be so attached to material things, yeah?
Sure.
We just can't pay you.
Big society, innit?
It's the high street, you know? It's dead.
Yeah. I mean, you could have paid for boutique goods, but then Amazon came along and, we're not paying you, so...
Can't wait to write about this experience when I get back to my mansion. Nymph1469 on Amazon said, and I'm going to appropriate an accent here, which I feel is appropriate for the content of the review. Don't worry, the accent is bad enough to be utterly indistinguishable to any one particular group.
Excellent.
Awful soppy film full of cliches. God, the irritating tinkly piano music and the American self-pity. Julia Roberts beautiful, but came over as shallow and self-indulgent. Preferred her in Notting Hill. Watching this only for Xavier Bardem and the Italy bit, because love Italy. But even that was turned into Americanized fantasy of Italy. Watching Julia eat spaghetti as if it were a big romantic moment of self-discovery was beyond absurd. The Thanksgiving scene was really the bitter end for me. All that sickly cliche twaddle the guests were thankful for, poca miseria. And as for the gestures... Let me try again.
Is that phonetic?
As for the gestures she's taught Italians use, I'm making one right now at this movie. A gesture pretty extreme, even in Florence, where I actually learnt it. Oh shit, I was actually a trendy travelling fucker too. I was in disguised as a disgruntled Eastern European. I actually learnt the gesture in Florence, and I think you'll find that the depiction of those scenes were actually quite inauthentic.
I learnt it from a man named Giuseppe, who invented Giuseppe's ice cream, and let me tell you that gesture was 99% correct. So, pretty embarrassing.
The thing about Giuseppe is he had more wisdom than he had hairs on his head. He taught me how to love, and pray, and eat himself. And I'll never forget Giuseppe.
Privilege.
It did, however, make a shit ton of money, and by my own whimsical design, it shall now have a sequel that I invite you to name, Sir Goodman. What does it get called?
A sequel to Eat, Pray, Love.
Yeah. What do you call that?
It's Meet, Pray, Love. It's Meet, Pray, Love because she's now got a case of adult onset diabetes, and she has to go on the paleo diet to rectify this.
But she still lives.
So she goes.
The rest of the film's the same. It's just the eating bit is really hard. And when she gets to the ashram in order to learn how to meditate, it's like, here is your dinner. Ooh, do you have anything?
No
Sorry. Can I just have the meat from it?
She spends most of the time at the Weston Price Foundation in America, learning that vegans are idiots.
So, Paul, why are you singing Divorce Man?
Yeah.
Hey! What's one thing about Eat, Pray, Love? Oh!
Bruce Willis?
What's one thing about Eat, Pray, Love that made you want to make love to a plum?
The teacher, the Italian language teacher.
Hey.
He looks a lot like Luis Suarez, and so good for him.
Good for him. That'll get him far in life.
Fame beckons.
Paul, as I look over the shortest list of notes I've ever written for this podcast, I ask you the immortal words, what, if anything, happens in Eat, Pray, Love?
Some pretty significant things happen, Paul.
Okay.
Julia Roberts plays Elizabeth Gilbert, real-life author, who is at a stage in her life where she's just, everything's shit. Everything's shit. She's got husband in Billy Crudup.
God, she's got a Crudup.
The audacity of the man. He's got a job and he wants to go back to school to learn.
Everybody hates Billy Crudup, and I can't figure out why at the beginning. People just keep giving him shitty looks. It's hilarious.
I know. Well, he's a pastry chef, and Julia Roberts. Is it Viola Davis?
Yes.
Her husband goes, oh, so you're a baker? And he's like, no, I'm a pastry chef, you fucking clown. Anyway, Billy Crudup's a fucking loser who wants to go back to school to learn more and better himself. So Julia Roberts thinks, I can't take this marriage anymore, Billy Crudup.
I want out. I want out now.
Yeah, I want out. I'm going to go off and meet James Franco, who's an actor.
Yeah.
And
to which I wrote the note, what a spectacular fucking douchebag James Franco is. Even when he's playing a nice, lovely guy, it's just he shows up, he smiles, he's backlit, and I just think, what a prick.
It's smarm, though. He's got such a smarmy face in this. He needs to be more 127 hours, I think. That's the real James Franco. 2
points from earlier on, sorry. In the opening monologue, Juliette Binoche, what's her name?
Juliette Binoche.
Juliette Binoche is narrating the situation about immigrants.
These Cambodians had suffered genocide, starvation, relatives murdered before their eyes, years in refugee camps, harrowing boat trips to the West. So guess what all these people wanted to talk about with my friend Deborah, the psychologist? It was all, I met this guy in the refugee camp. I thought he really loved me, but when we got separated on the boat, he took up with my cousin, but now he says he really loves me and he keeps calling me. They're married now. What should I do? I still love him. This is how we are.
I love the fact that the message of it is just that how immigrants and survivors of terrible situations are really just as fatuous and self-obsessed as the rest of us. It's the Sex and the City 2 message. And they were all wearing Prada. And they were eating Vogue.
And you can't do that. It took a long time for us to learn that. But I'm willing to believe it because obviously foreigners are scum.
Yeah. There's a scene early on where she's gone to the guru. She's in India. It's from before the whole thing. And she's gone there and she's speaking to the guru and says,
in Bali?
You must come back and live in Bali.
Katuk.
Yeah. In Indonesia, I think is where Bali is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Julia Roberts goes up and he says, you will live with me for many months and I will teach you everything I know. And it just made me, I think it's him a big smile with his no-teeth face. It just made me think if I had Julia Roberts living with me for 3 months and I teach her everything I know, what sort of skills Julia Roberts might pick up. And today is Tuesday. And on Tuesdays, it's 2-for-1 pizzas at Pizza Hut. This is the wisdom of the Paul.
Oh yeah, so there's that. She's had one quasi-spiritual experience. And now she's with James Franco. She's dressing like him, and they're doing all the stuff together. And he's folding her underwear, and it's really horrible. She's
I hate it.
Yeah, he doesn't want sex as much, and she's screaming at him, and then he does his grin, his like shit-eating smile back at her, and it's definitely not going to work. But they're in a very destructive relationship, but with this kind of this need to perpetuate it, to keep making it work.
Yeah. Meanwhile, she's going for a really messy divorce with her husband, and then after a really bizarre fucking sequence in the divorce lawyer's office, she's shocked. She's open-mouthed shocked to find him crying in an elevator, as if this was upsetting him somehow.
Yeah. But he's Billy Crudup. He's a fool. A fancy fool. We are introduced to her friend Viola Davis.
Yes.
From the very beginning of the film, who's just a twat, basically. Who's just there for the first 10 minutes of the film to just put down literally everything that Julia Roberts says, just remind her as she's going through this difficult time that she's everything she's done, people have done before because they're fucking idiots, all of them. So that when Julia Roberts finally decides to escape this tawdry lifestyle of nice husbands and a comfortable-ish life,
and James Franco's on tap.
Yeah, which, some of us would only dream of. But Viola Davis says, no, you're a fucking fool, and you're fat. What? Oh. I think my main note from that first 20 minutes of this movie is, fuck off, literally everyone in this film. Anyway, then she goes on a plane.
Yeah, well, she's going to go to 3 places. She's already planned out that she's going to go to Italy and India somewhere, and...
Calcutta.
Just somewhere in India. It's fine. It's India. You get the idea.
Small place. Yeah. They're all the same.
It's like Swindon.
Yeah.
Oh, east or west Swindon, though. Big difference. And then finally, Bali. So that's what she's doing. And in Rome, she is surrounded by all the things that Italians do, like being poor, hand gestures, shouting at each other's, harassing women, and generally being folksy.
Yeah. Which is very charming, and then very good food and ice cream, which makes up for it. Yeah. She meets this very lovely and assertive Swedish woman named Swedish Woman.
Yep.
And
her translator boyfriend.
And a translator boyfriend.
Yeah.
Giuseppe.
Johnny Language Man.
Johnny Italian.
And Johnny Language Man, after teaching her a bit of Italian, says, "Hey, come watch me get shaved." And she's like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, sure. In Italy.
Yeah. It'll be folksy.
They meet a guy called Luca Spaghetti because his family invented spaghetti, and they just talk more about the difference between the Italian and American way of life. The difference being that Americans are overworked, and they feel they need to earn their time off, and the Italians, they know that they deserve the time off, and they enjoy their lives, and this is the main difference, not the economies. So
and Luca Spaghetti says some really funny things, like they're talking about cities, and if you could sum them up in one word, and London gets described as stuffy, which is great.
No.
And
I mean, I went, yeah, it's true.
Someone says, "What's the word for Rome?"
Sex.
Oh, that was it. And I'm just like, really bad public transport. How about that? How about that, Rome? Is that too stuffy
London doesn't
for you?
have sex. If people in London had sex, then that would be the main thing. But they don't have sex, so you have to find something else.
We have the best kind of sex. We have the sex where you go to like a really expensive tea room, and you have to say the right thing, and you get shown into the dungeon downstairs. We have repressed sex, which is the best sex on earth. It's the sex where someone's going to film it, and it's going to fucking ruin you if it gets out. That's what every romantic encounter in London is like.
Repressed, suppressed, and oppressed. All of them. It was surprisingly interchangeable for London. I refer you back to the guy that I thanked coming off the tube, who blinked like he'd had like an air gun blown in his face.
Yeah, but 7 o'clock that night, he was getting his ass whipped by someone dressed exactly like you, saying over and over again, "Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate." With his business tie
as opposed to his leisure tie. Just strut like peanutted around his neck.
I'm going to change it to my leisure tie for this beating.
No, not tonight, Barry. You've made me do the Barry now.
Barry's contagious.
Barry's contagious, everyone.
It's catching.
Stay clear of Barry.
Barry ISIS.
Oh, Christ. Yeah, anyway, so Italy's great. And they spend a bit more time. They travel around a bit more. They put on some weight. And, just eat a lot of food. And that's lovely. Makes me want to go to Italy and eat food.
Yes.
Anyway,
there are a couple of really hilarious sequences that Julia Roberts refused to put weight on for, but otherwise it's all really great.
Anyway, so they're very relaxed and happy. Italy was a success.
Oh, yeah.
To India!
To India, and noise and crashing and all sorts.
Yeah, but never mind all of that, because she spends the entire time in a sort of monastery, like a meditation centre.
She walks in, and Richard Jenkins immediately detects that the main character has walked into the room and like looks around for her. Oh, the protagonist is here.
Oh, I better go away and come up with a really fucking infuriating nickname for her that I get to use 300 times in the next thing.
Nice to meet you. Groceries?
Groceries?
Yeah. Yeah, I heard you eating before I saw you. I never seen anybody eat so much at one time. You sure do enjoy your groceries.
Groceries, great. I'm going to call you groceries because you eat a lot of food. Yeah, but these aren't groceries. This is just food because I didn't buy it.
I can't call you fatty, okay? Which is what the real guy did. People have to try and like me, and they're not willing to accept a character as complicated as me in real life.
Oh.
Richard the Texan.
I'm Richard Jenkins, everyone.
I'm Richard Jenkins the Texan.
Yep, that's what he is.
Boy, howdy.
Yeah. I mean, what happens in this one, really? She tries to meditate. Yeah. She struggles to meditate for obvious reasons. And then
she's Julia Roberts.
She doesn't need to meditate. She's already perfect. And she has in a series of conversations with Richard Jenkins. Yeah. She learns that she has to forgive herself for something.
Yes. Having fled a loveless marriage, she does spend quite a bit of time talking a young Indian girl into her forced arranged marriage.
I imagine you and Rajul smiling and looking at each other with love and kindness. It seemed very real.
Thank you so much, Liz. That helps me to believe it as well.
But I love her face when the arranged marriage is happening, because she looks over at Julia Roberts, and Julia Roberts just looks like, fuck, what have I done?
Because that's the thing. The only conflict she has is that she regrets walking out on Billy Crudup because she feels selfish for having done so. And Richard Jenkins is nearly ran over my kid. Was a big drug addict, nearly killed my kid, and never speak to them again. That's like my situation. No, it's not. Shut up.
Fundamentally, I think we can agree.
Look, Carrie Bradshaw's at the next table. I nearly kissed my ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, anyway, they say, turning their backs on Carrie Bradshaw. Oh. I love the way the Richard Jenkins story is told, because he's like, I got really drunk, and I sped home, and my little boy was in the driveway. And Julia Roberts puts her hand to his mouth. Puts her hand to her mouth. Shh. This is ridiculous.
This is the horniest thing I've ever heard.
It's like, and I didn't see him. I didn't see him at the driveway. He was fine. But, you prick, Richard Jenkins.
You definitely knew what we thought.
My little boy. He was 8 years old at the time. He was sitting in the driveway with his little Hot Wheels, waiting for his lost, drunk, miserable dad to come home. Play with him. Didn't see him. I just roared into that driveway and I just see my little boy. But he got out of the way. She's used to getting out of the way when I was around.
You definitely knew. You did that on purpose. Let me turn that noise off.
We haven't been podcasting for 2 weeks, everyone. Can you tell? And he's like, oh, sorry about that. Well, anyway, I almost killed him. That's still bad, but it's definitely not the same.
You dick.
Yeah, you're just a dick.
I'm going.
No wonder you're here.
I'm going back to Texas.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant! You're healed then. Sure.
Yeah. Why not?
Well, I told you about it, and then I cried, and that means I'm done. It means I'm healed.
Yeah. There's a bit where everyone. Julia Roberts gets a job for the first time in this entire fucking endeavor, the only time in this fucking endeavor, when a woman comes up to her and says, "Look, we need you to be a guide for the other meditators because you're shit at it. So, what we need you to do is when you see someone who's doing it badly, just go up and I don't know. You can't really do anything, can you? Oh well, just keep an eye out." Basically, what we need you to do is smile all the time. Well, you've definitely got your fucking girl.
Yeah.
Big Elephant comes up to Julia Roberts, and I just made the note because I don't know what it is about me. Some sort of thing of my approach to animals. There's so many
elephant's
mammals.
Fucking sexy.
What? No. Wasn't it just horny? That just looks dumb. It's meant to be this really graceful moment where an elephant comes over to be like, hey, it just troddles into troddles? Yeah. It just troddles into this fucking scene. A big smile on his face, lumbering about the place with its big nose.
Oh. I definitely didn't think it was meant to be elegant. I definitely didn't think it was meant to be meaningful. I thought it was just like, oh shit, here's an elephant. Oh, it's big, isn't it?
I'm a fucking elephant, man. I'm a fucking idiot.
Maybe I'm giving this film too much slack. I thought it was meant to be intentionally funny.
Oh, Christ. So...
Anyway, that's the end of that one. Let's go to Bali.
Let's go to the third one. Love.
Yeah.
So, she goes and she finds the guru from the beginning of the film. And it's like, hey, remember me? And he's like, nope. Oh, that's kind of disappointing. Is that going to be addressed at some point in the rest of the film? Like, maybe the spiritual figure wasn't who I thought he was and was maybe a bit of just a huckster, and the real lessons are what I've learned along the way? No. I'm still the spiritual authority here, and I will still be guiding you. I just don't know who the fuck you are.
That's your problem when you're writing about real life experiences and not an actual narrative, I suppose. Sometimes things just don't work.
And you have to include them.
You have to show them the picture that he gave you. Yeah. You go, oh, you're the picture lady. The picture lady from New York.
Yeah, look, I'm Julia Roberts. I'm from New York. I came here. You told me I could stay for 3 months. Oh, yes, you're Julia Roberts. You came from New York and I said you could stay for 3 months. Yeah, that doesn't count as you remember. It's fine. Let's just carry on with the next scene.
You're sad. Oh, you remember me.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting... You were wondering about being blonde? Having red shoes. God almighty, you're worse than Yoda.
You're all the same, foreigners. So, yeah, and then she learns the lessons from Katuk, the toothless master, the lovely, adorable toothless master.
Yeah.
Is that, yes, she should get up in the morning and meditate seriously, like her guru in India said, and to spend her day enjoying life and food, like the Romans do. But then in the evening, she should also meditate the Bali way, which is to smile everywhere. Even your liver smiles.
He also says there's witch doctor in this town, because there's a bit where a girl has been brought for him to rub lotion into her gums. And the old woman who lives with him is like, she is possessed by a demon. And Julia Roberts says, looks like teething. She says, they're the same thing. No, they're not!
Yes.
Stop being so folksy.
No, they are in Bali.
It's what it says on the diagnosis thing. Possessed by demon, prescribed 2 paracetamol.
I would like to think that was a little bit of looking down on their stupid foreign ways.
She gets run off the road by fucking Silver from Skyfall. And he decides, I think...
Like we all wish we would.
They get together and it's all looking quite good. Later on, yes, they start having sex, that's it. And then she's got some sort of weird infection because she started having sex too quick, according to the weird witch doctor lady.
Oh, yeah.
She gives her some, like... I don't know. Oh, no, it's because of the cut. That's it. The cut on her foot. She puts a leaf on her foot and says, "There, better than an antibiotic." No, it's not. Doing things wrong.
Yeah, you are doing it wrong. Oh no, she makes it. That's it. She makes her drink a tea that's better than antibiotics.
That's the one.
That's what it is. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant. That's probably going to be adopted all over the world soon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it is a bladder infection, or if it's like a UTI, which you can get. What's the name of the one that you can get when you have sex, and if you don't pee afterwards, you get it? It's and you have to drink cranberry juice.
Your dad's been telling his stories.
No, there's a thing.
There's a genuine thing.
Yeah. It's a genuine thing. Let me just.
You clearly haven't been picking up enough STIs.
Yeah. Come on, Paul. What's the name of that fucking UTI? Well.
Name that UTI. It's Paul Goodman's new podcast. Staph infection? Yes.
It is this week. Here we go. 3 urinary tract infection preventives that really work.
This is the news you come here for, everyone.
Urinary tract infections are caused when bacteria from the rectum strays into the vagina.
So if you're doing astavage, please be careful. Who does it? You don't do anal then transition back into vaginal, surely. That's surely the showstopper.
Some people do, Paul. Some people want their cake and eat it as well.
Some people want their cake and the little pre-snack
their anal cakes.
Look, some people want their cake and anal sex as well, and it's just those are the worst kinds of people.
Never go anal to cake. Says Katuk.
Some ass to cake action.
Oh fuck! Oh. Yes. Oh man. Okay. It after that it doesn't matter. Everyone.
They all get STIs.
Yeah. And better than antibiotics. They go ass to cake, and they're all a lot better.
Javier Bardem says, "Look, we've had sex now. We've both gotten over some difficult
You've met my Australian
periods.
son.
You've met my handsome son. Let's go off on this boat." And she's like, "No, I can't go off on this boat." And he's like, "You're a bitch." Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then she goes, well, let me just completely overreact! This film doesn't really fit the narrative structure, but I've got to have an ending!
Travel all around the world to find your balance. And the balance that you think you've found is what? Meditating for 20 minutes and going to see an old medicine man? Listen, balance, my darling, balance is not letting anybody love you less than you love yourself.
Okay.
That's
you know
what balance
All right,
is.
you know
all
what?
right?
Do not tell me what lessons I have and haven't learned in the last year. And don't tell me how balanced and wise you are and how I can't express myself.
Okay. Vos lo que fica conmigo.
Do not say darling to me again, because I'm just going to lose it. Listen to me. I do not need to love you to prove that I love myself.
There's got to be some tension. I can't just sail off with this handsome man who loves me. And whom I love.
Despite the fact that that's what everyone wants. Yeah.
She speaks to the toothless old fuck again.
Yeah. He goes, no, you should do that. And she's like, oh.
And he makes
Alright then.
He makes some comment about, oh, I can't fly on an aeroplane because I have no teeth. And she's like, haha, that's funny. No, it's not! Stop encouraging them.
I'm not comedic relief. You said I was a spiritual leader.
I'm played by Mike Myers.
Welcome to Bali!
No, Mike,
Play in the mummy daddy button meditation.
We wanted you as the love guru character. Eh? No, I'm this character. You can't decide which Mike Myers you're gonna get. Donkey. Or fat bastard, I forget.
Roulette.
It's the Myers roulette. You never know which one's gonna fucking show up. You've just got to base the film around it.
I'm surprisingly expensive.
It's been a while though, hasn't it? So
makes you wonder.
My notes are finished. I think she just goes off of having it by Dan.
Oh, she gets all of her rich friends to donate to the natural healer in Bali, and she is able to buy a house.
They have the equivalent of Carrie Bradshaw leaving some money on the sideboard just to make you feel a bit better.
Yeah, although it is $16,000, so that this woman who's escaping her abusive husband.
We don't know how much train fare Carrie Bradshaw left. Could have been a cool G.
Was it notes? Or
I think it was a check. I can't remember. Let's watch. Okay, look, we're going to pause here and watch Sex and the City 2 again.
Oh yeah, Paul was right.
Paul? He didn't make it. Not everyone makes it through Sex and the City 2 a second time.
The guy in Sex and the City 2 just wanted to see his long distance relationship. Has to work in wherever the fuck it was, Abu Dhabi. His wife's in.
She left train's fare for one non-return trip to see the girlfriend, and a little envelope he could put the change in to send to her.
Yeah. And in this, which I assume is a real thing that happened with Elizabeth Gilbert.
It'd be pretty outrageous if it wasn't. I mean, then again, what, they're going to see the movie and complain? Those poor fucks? Oh, you're great, Erin Gilbert.
Erin Brockovich Gilbert. $16,000 so that this woman who's escaping her abusive husband with Indonesia's restrictive divorce laws for women can finally buy a house, and that's nice. That's nice.
Although, again, she got that because she emailed all of her old friends and said, look, the money that you would have spent on a birthday present for me, just give it to this charity instead. And that came to 16 grand. I don't think...
Yeah, well, it does make me wonder how many people she emailed, because it only showed about the 4 people that she'd met in this film, but she must have emailed a whole bunch of people. It couldn't have just been those 4.
If I emailed everyone I've ever met and said, look, instead of giving me every present you've ever given me, please send all of your money to Asta Cake Awareness Month. We've got to raise awareness here. I think it would still only come to 45 bob.
But you still get the bus fare home after that. So
yeah. Well, back in those days. Anyway,
different economy. Yeah. But she channels her privilege into something useful, and that is good.
For a fan.
And in a way, aren't we all eat, pray, love?
Can't we all agree to that, at least?
And that's it, really. That's the end, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
She kisses Javier Bardem, as we all wish we could.
Like we all should.
And he goes, I'm just going to go and get the profiteroles.
And then I'm going to stick them right up my ass. Yeah, so she just goes off with Javier Bardem. The end.
Yeah, lovely.
You know, Paul, I really messed things up because I learned to eat in Hoxton. I learned to pray in Stoke Newington. I was praying to get out alive. And I learned to love at number 63 Papsworth Gardens. And that's a story to be told.
What's your revelation? What did you learn?
I learned from all that really you are better off. The legends are true, and you really oughtn't go north of the river.
It's not just elevated house prices.
And assertive, out-of-control drivers, for some reason.
It's a real Mike Myers roulette up there.
It's a real ass to cake situation up there.
Yeah, if ever there was one.
Oh, fuck me. All right, Paul, what did you make of Eat, Pray, Love?
Oh, bah.
Exactly. It's a 50% movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
I maybe wouldn't go as high as 50 on this, to be honest, because I was fairly underwhelmed, but it wasn't offensive in the way that Mark Kermode found it to be, really. I wasn't annoyed like I was with Sex and the City 2.
No, well, I was in the first half an hour. I was genuinely frustrated, and I really thought if this is what it's going to be for the rest of the film, I'm going to have a really unpleasant experience.
Right.
But what actually happened was, it was just a fairly nice, positive message, and it kind of cancelled out all the annoyance that I felt in the beginning, so that what I was left with was just...
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, because some of the bad stuff is kind of the point of it. Like, it has a very unconventional structure, which occasionally feels quite rambling, but which also kind of resembles how life works. Yeah. It has a main character who is very indecisive and often frustrating, and it's lacking in any real sense of drama. All of that stuff is the point. And it's the thing, it's the often unsympathetic approach of a very rich and entitled person trying to find meaning in their life, which is always a hard sell. You're not necessarily meant to like Julia Roberts just to empathise with her, like Taxi Driver.
Yeah. Obvious comparison.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think so. And when you're doing something like this, you're always going to bring out people who go, oh, privilege. You know, being a Sofia Coppola film. How sad that you're famous and having a difficult life. But
I'm not a million miles away from one of those people, I've got to be honest.
Well, it's still... I mean, where is the privilege in working so hard that you get a heart attack when you're 60? Where's the privilege of being so fucking burnt out that you have a nervous breakdown?
Her privilege is the fact that she's able to travel around the world for a year based on an advance on a book that she hasn't written. That is a position that very few people are in. And yes, fine, maybe she's earned it, but it's still a difficult situation and position to empathise with and to say, oh yes, I can really relate to her struggle when she is free of so many of the devastating realities of everyday life.
Yeah, but on a much deeper sort of philosophical level, I can empathise with feeling burnt out and having breakdowns, even if the differences are chasmic between us.
I mean, the whole point of the film, the whole dilemma that she's facing is the idea that she has everything that she ever wanted and is bored with it. And I think that is always a tough sell as far as narratives go.
There's something very positive spiritually there. It's just not... It's very underwhelmingly done, I think. And it's one person's experience, and like you said, you can't be expected to sympathise. But it cancelled out the annoyingness of the first half an hour, and they made everybody the most annoying fucking person that they could possibly think of in order to get that point across.
Yeah, there's a lot of cliches in there.
Yeah, and that made it a more difficult watch for me.
It is rather. It's a lot of platitudes and stuff that's not terribly deep or insightful, but it is innocuous enough. David Jenkins, writing for The Guardian, had in a defensive piece about the movie, had an interesting point, saying, finally, the thing that most people miss with Eat, Pray, Love is that it is a piece of satire, a pin-sharp mockery of the source book and its can-do, you-go-girl, chakra-aligning aphorisms. Just as Paul Verhoeven repurposed Robert Heinlein's 60s sci-fi novel Starship Troopers by delicately inverting its reactionary themes, so too does writer-director Murphy, perhaps unknowingly, turn Eat, Pray, Love into a Hogarthian critique of Sunday supplement dream chasing, instigated by people who wear bellowy cheesecloth and view all non-American as kooky sages. Why else would Roberts be acting as if she is fully conscious that she's in a movie? So, a bit of wishful thinking potentially there from David Jenkins.
Yeah. Well, he did say unknowingly there, and I think that's the key. He wants it to be a satire, but it wasn't.
I think the stuff in it that's definitely not meant to be as bad or unconventional as it ends up being is that it's just not terribly... It's not funny, I found.
Yeah.
There's an awful lot of laughing and smiling in it, but it's not funny. And it's not terribly engaging. I find that Roberts has two acting modes, which is smiling and crying, with slight... extensions into crying a lot and smiling a lot. You know what she has? She has that kind of smile. And I get the same thing with Tom Cruise. And you know I like Tom Cruise.
I know you like Tom Cruise.
You know, we all like Tom Cruise. But it's that kind of smile where it's just, nothing could ever touch me. It's also, Brad Pitt kind of has it as well, of just, it's okay. I know you're excited, but it's me. And that's what I get from the Julia Roberts smile as well, is it's just the idea of, she's not really... anywhere.
I mean, I'm going to go Catwoman and say that I didn't mind it.
Okay.
I didn't mind her. I thought she was just painfully annoying in the first half hour of the film, and it's not the character that I liked, but as a performer, I don't mind. It's fine. She emotes well.
I don't.
She emotes hard. Those two emotions, she fucking does them.
The whole thing is kind of cloying, and the people do seem like caricatures, and it's terribly fucking boring. I mean, 2.5 hours is pretty extraordinary.
Yeah, I was really fatigued when I realised there was 40 minutes to go, because she'd already had most of her revelations.
That's around about when Javier Bardem, the love interest, shows up.
Which is a real-life love interest, right? She then went on to marry for 12 years or so until they divorced.
Well, there's a very interesting, and I wanted to come on to this. She has posted publicly, so we can discuss this. It's a very personal aspect of her life, but she has shared it, we can imagine, so that it can be discussed and sort of considered. A real-life story happened to her, which is her best friend got cancer and only had a few years left to live. And so she left Javier Bardem in order to be with her friend, so sort of entering into a lesbian relationship for the first time with her best friend, because she realized only at the onset of her cancer that she didn't just love her friend but was in love with her. And I can't remember if they married or not, but they got together, and they were together until the friend died in January of last year, which is a hell of a story. I mean, reading that paragraph alone made me think about a lot of stuff, like the idea that it's only in the immediacy of death that she was able to sort of act fully on her real sort of wish. And it's also kind of beautiful that, she finally found that there was a domestic situation she wanted to be in. It reminded me of that short story from Paris Chatham, where the guy's going to break up with his wife but finds out that she has cancer, and so figures he'll stick around to try and help, and then ends up falling in love with her again. My favourite story in that film, in fact.
Cool, okay.
It reminds me of that, and it just... Not to be... Okay, this is where I'm going to have to tiptoe in order to avoid sounding insensitive here, but it really emphasises that that's the kind of real-life big stuff that was kind of absent from this story. That was the sort of world-changing cosmic shift that makes compelling drama. So I'm not saying she should have held out until a friend got cancer, but I am saying that the fact that that story is so inspiring and so beautiful further emphasises how kind of empty this particular narrative is. For me.
Yes, and I was thinking in a similar way. That is the kind of story that people would want to read and watch a film about, but of course then would you really want to share that? Well, is it not just very cynical to write that kind of book afterwards?
Do you know what? To share it, no, because she has done, and that's great. To capitalise on it, maybe. Yeah. And that's what she would do if she wrote
Unless, the profits go to cancer research or something.
That would be great, yeah. Swiftly moving away from this very real-world travesty, but my reason for mentioning it, that this film does feel a little fluffy.
Yes, it definitely does. It does speak to my wanderlust more than anything, as do most films about travelling and people going on journeys of self-discovery. I'm a sucker for it. It kindles the flame that I keep alive in my very small black heart.
You see, I have the opposite thing, and so my heart is kindled by movies like Patterson, in which the journey of self-discovery is entirely internalized, and the physical location remains the same, but it becomes the attitude towards it that evolves and change. So I imagine it's a similar feeling, because I floated out of Patterson. I came out of Patterson just feeling fucking amazing, of just it's so the beauty of a conventional life. It's extraordinary. It's all around us. It's in this child. Hey, come back with that. It's that kind of feeling. I can imagine people getting that out of Eat, Pray, Love and being like, India. And
I mean, I really hated my time in India. That particular line of thought, maybe not, but I'm inspired by that kind of thing, and I just wish that it had done it with a bit more sophistication and a bit more just wit and relatability, rather than a montage of Italian gestures and just very crazy stereotypes and things like that to try and get the point across. It's a message that I'm really on board with, but not in its execution. I imagine I really can't wait to see Patterson. I'm warming to it. Initially, it made me really anxious. The thought of somebody being really happy with their daily life, just writing for himself. I thought, God, I wish I can't never be that happy. I hate this. And I'll get back to you on this, because I do now own a copy of it.
Ooh.
But I wonder if I will come out of the film thinking, what a beautiful film that was. I couldn't do that.
Well, I've experienced travel things in a similar way. Like, whenever I read about Werner Herzog's, life of just, he goes to South America and meets a guy in a town, and now he's 12,000 miles away living on his boat, and he's involved in a plot to murder the guy's wife. And they're all coke dealers. That's just, something that happened to Werner Herzog once, and then he made a film about it. It's like that. I read that and I think, wow, that's amazing. I never want to do that.
Werner Herzog and Elizabeth Gilbert, very different people, I'm sure you'd agree.
If only they met.
Just bring about very different experiences.
Yeah. I'm out of notes.
Okay, cool.
So, let's quickfire. Quickfire. I mean, the whole thing was pretty consistently beautifully shot. There was some really interesting
that's the first
angles.
thing I wrote.
Yeah, really interesting angles chosen. Like, I wasn't expecting sort of Malick-style gliding for so much of it, and like Dutch angles and some really adventurous stuff.
Yeah. I was expecting a sort of Alabamian drawl to go over the top of it. Who's killing you? Did you pass through this night? And it's just Julia Roberts.
There was a piece of music that kept going that kept reminding me of Requiem for a Dream. Like, there's parts of it just kept going.
Oh.
And then it didn't do the thing you wanted it to do.
I mean, there was some pretty janky music in there, but at the same time, there are a couple of really nice orchestral moments or movements. Both apply. I agree. The nature and wildlife shots, the food was approaching chef levels of deliciousness, and they got the visual side of things down. Agreed. Viola Davis's sleeping baby just did not give a fuck. There's one bit where Julia Roberts hands him or her back to Viola Davis, and his head is at a 45-degree angle, and his face is like, is he dead? Is he dreaming? Who knows? He's a baby, doesn't give a fuck. It's a very, very good-looking baby.
Yeah. The line, "We invented it," from fucking Spaghetti Man was fairly comical.
Your name is Luca Spaghetti?
Davvero? La mia famiglia si chiama così. We invented it.
I like Luca Spaghetti. I found myself going, I wish I was in Italy with Italians.
Those Italians.
I like being around Billy Crudup. Some of his bits were stupid, and his character was a bit of a douchebag at times. But I just like Billy Crudup. I like his face, like his resting face. It just amuses me and makes me happy. He's got a kind of, I'm Billy Crudup, and what kind of thing going on.
Dr. Manhattan, or am I?
Which is good in any film. I don't know. Give a fuck. Here I am. Here all week.
Oh, I liked the philosophy of Julia Roberts' point about, we should just eat. We shouldn't worry about putting on a few extra pounds. I don't want to be obese, but I'm not going to worry about being. I mean, it's Julia Roberts saying this, so you have to take it with a bit of a pinch of salt. But her argument is regarding men. Look, have you ever, been with a man, gotten naked, and received criticism? No, because usually the guy's just like, yay, I'm with a naked woman, which. Yeah. The only fallacy there is in assuming that people's insecurities about their body is based solely on their ability to appeal to the opposite sex, which I don't think is entirely true. It's often a sort of self thing, but nevertheless, it's a nice sentiment that I liked.
Yeah, and you've got to imagine that Elizabeth Gilbert wasn't maybe not as skinny as Julia Roberts if they had that conversation in real life, so it probably held a bit more weight. The first kiss between Julia Roberts and James Franco I thought was quite cute because they took a long time to do it, and you could tell Julia Roberts was shy. Well, not Julia Roberts, but Julia Roberts playing Elizabeth Gilbert. And they were just, like, shyly scoping out the space between them, and then they made little excursions into their airspace.
They flanked each other.
Like, are we going to kiss? Yeah.
One of them for a flashbang. There's interesting cross-cutting throughout this. There are various scenes and sequences that play out simultaneously, like that aforementioned sequence where Julia Roberts is trying to fit into skinny jeans is weirdly intercut with a bunch of guys watching sport. There's all sorts of moments like that where we just get weird cross-cutting and sort of in time as well, like her writing an email combined with her wandering around India, and it has a very interesting effect. It is kind of Malakian.
Malikian.
Because
Malakian is the guitarist.
Oh yeah, it's fucking Darren Malakian. Yeah, the camera work was a lot like that. You remember that bit where it was like, why the fuck did you set the bar? The only line I could think of his. Where the fuck
it is the only line as far as I'm concerned. And I liked the old Italian matriarch, which she rents the that room from. who's just wandering around talking in Italian and occasional English.
Yeah.
And there's just one line that finished where she's talking about like this. I think it's just the symbiosis of married life.
Yeah.
And it ends with pasta and sausage. Sure, that's how you say it. It's great.
I like the atypical introduction to India. We didn't get a nice padding shot. In fact, generally speaking, they don't send her to a new place with an establishing shot. You're just in it and amongst it, which is quite good. And in India in particular, we cut from sort of the serenity of Italy to just traffic and noise and like people on the streets. And it's a shame we don't get to see that sort of lively side to India, to sort of urban India again. Just goes out to the country and spends a lot of time in the countryside.
Bit more footage of kids in rags squatting by garbage heaps.
I wanted Lion. That's what I wanted. I wanted the first half of Lion in this segment.
You wanted her to be taken in by possibly a pimp?
Maybe he's just a guy.
I mean, why not?
Why not?
Who knows? He's stroking him. But you know, maybe that's just like an uncle.
Maybe it's a friendly thing there. We don't know. Cultural difference. Don't get involved. Keep your head down, Deirdre.
Different time.
5 minutes ago. Yeah, lots happened.
I like the conviction with which the Swedish girl ordered the coffee. When the camera just fixed directly in front of her face and she was just like...
2 cappuccini, per favore, latte tiepido stavolta, perché ieri troppo caldo, mi sono scottata la lingua.
Dos caffè... That's Italian for me. It's all a joke. But I like the conviction with which she ordered that. It was great.
Yeah.
Force to her.
Good stuff. Oh, yeah, I had to make a note of this. It's kind of cheeky me putting it down as a good thing, but it was noticeable. Every so often I feel quite inferior as a film critic because I don't notice editing as much as other critics do. But I noticed a really bad cut in this, and it made me feel like, oh yeah, I noticed a bad cut. At the very least. And it was when Javier Bardem has just knocked over Julia Roberts, and you see the blood on her shin.
Yeah.
And he says, that looks bad. Jump cut immediately to her getting it treated. And it was just too abrupt, and it wasn't motivated, the cut, based on anything, and so it was just a bit jarring. But it made me have a little moment of, yay! I should write an article about that.
That could be a good thing. Yeah, of course that's a good thing. This film has helped you realise your own self-worth. Not in the way the film intended, but it did.
I realised my value as a person because I fucking hated Eat, Pray, Love.
Yay.
I'm glad I reached you, says Julia Roberts. Glad to make a difference.
You may pat me now. I'd rather not. I liked in the Thanksgiving scene where everybody's thanking God or each other for different things. At the end of it, they all they try to speak while they suck back tears, and the sound of 7 people going.
I'm the luckiest girl in the world. Salute.
Salute.
Is quite a nice, like it's very gentle cacophony of sounds there.
Oh, that's good.
I appreciated that. Yeah.
The food pretty much consistently always looks good. From the pizza to the breads they're preparing in India, it's all pretty bloody tasty looking.
Approaching chef, as I said. Yeah, Richard Jenkins looks pretty good. Whether in all
they
in all
filmed him well. I like the light, the way it played off of him. Good cinematography.
I like Richard Jenkins. I liked how abrasive and opprobrious he was in the first 5 minutes of his being in the film. How Julia Roberts just didn't want any part of him, understandably. Just like, I'm in your life now. Me, Richard Jenkins from Texas. Brilliant, thanks.
I was in Shape of Water. Move over. I'm coming in. Oh. Well, I think my last one is just, speaking of an actor, Javier Bardem's pretty charming, reliably. And always.
Yeah.
Yep, comes in here with his Javier Bardem attitude to life. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's damn lovely.
Really charming. I really liked it when he said, when he's like, well, I should take you to the best restaurant in town. My place. And then he looks into the distance as he tries to keep a straight face. It was a really charming bit.
I should invite you to the best restaurant in town. My penis. And he just looks over at her to see if she's reacted. Oh, that sounds great. The joke? Damn it. She didn't get it.
But also, now, Paul, I have like 10 more good things.
Well, you'll have to just go through them so because I'm done.
All right.
I'm going to go to bed.
Julia.
I'm going to go eat, pray, or love.
Well, while Paul's sleeping off one or all of them. During a conversation with Richard Jenkins, she says...
Has anyone ever told you you look like James Taylor?
Every day.
God, he really does.
And I really liked that kind of inner monologue bit. The reveal of the drummer that she was supposed to have a one-night stand with was meant to be serious, and it was like, hey, look at that heartthrob. But when it revealed this shirtless Australian guy just drumming shitly on bongos, I went... It just looks so lame. Hungover Julia Roberts looked very dehydrated. She looks really rinsed out.
Love it.
That was good.
I love a dried Roberts. The sun-dried Roberts.
I really like Javier Bardem's Australian son and all their time together. Kissing him square on the lips.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah, a bit of affection.
And it was just I had a real believable relationship with a lot of affection. Javier Bardem, what a guy.
He wasn't meant to have a son in the film. Javier Bardem just saw him passing by and was like, he's my son. Everyone just went with it.
Get him. You're my son, get him. He's my son, get him too.
You're my son, get your brother. What? Okay.
Julia Roberts, after having some good sex with Javier Bardem, does a lovely little heel kick in midair when she's going off. And it was really cool and sprightly. Oh, Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
That's the kind of kick you do when you're being paid $25 million to do a film.
$25 million a word.
And there was the piece of music when Julia Roberts and Javier Bardem had their breakup montage. It reminded me of a very good film. And it might have been a very long engagement, and it might not have been. And I can't quite.
It could just easily.
But it was a nice bit of music.
Not been.
Yeah. And that are my one good things.
Yay! Okay, how about that? OGT India.
The first OG time of 2019 is... we've had one person unfollow us in the last hour.
Somehow I feel they just know
that's nice.
What we've done here today.
Yeah. It's weird. I just remember seeing we had 1,931 and now we've got 1,930.
Oh, that was me.
Follow back.
Sorry, that was me, man.
Okay.
Just got sick of it.
You're done. We have one OG team, and it's from our very good friend Katie at Katie Maiden on Twitter.
Yay!
And she said it's genuinely uplifting.
Ah.
Yeah.
I can easily see this being genuinely uplifting if it sort of vibes with you.
I can see why you'd think that.
If you can accept Julia Roberts as an avatar and sort of go inside there and get all up in the smile and be like, yes, it's me, then that's good stuff. I personally just had my own hang-ups, which maybe precluded me from getting all up in the Roberts.
You just wished it was Patterson, but...
I just kept wishing it was Patterson. Fine. But not every movie can be Patterson. Literally no other film has managed it so far.
I've learnt that. Midnight in Paris? Not really.
Not Patterson.
Not really at all, in any way, shape or form. But I was moderately uplifted, so...
2 inches
So there
uplifted.
we go. That's the hot take. Yeah. To 5'11". Gosh, imagine.
Getting such a strong boy.
So there we go. That's the hot take from the pools.
That's the hot take. It's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about one better thing.
Thanks, OGT.
Oh, sorry, yes. Thanks, OGT. One better thing. The one better thing. My one better thing is a film called Wild Rose, and it hasn't come out yet. It's on its way, so keep an eye out for it. Jessie Buckley plays a Glaswegian mum, a very young Glaswegian mum who's just gotten out of prison and is settling back into her life. But her thing is that she dreams of becoming a country music star. That's country music, not country and western music, she'll be keen to point out. And it's just this film about her trying to follow her dream whilst also living up to her responsibilities as a mum. And it's really heartbreaking in a lot of moments. It made me cry. It's just a really beautiful film about measuring one's aspirations against the things that you want to do. Because ultimately she does want to be a good mum and a great sort of musician. And it's just a really relatable and believable story about her trying to do both and struggling to do so. And she's a very imperfect lead character who often acts selfishly, is all the more relatable for it. And I think that's why I responded to it. I do also want to just point out the film The Escape, which I haven't seen, that came out 2 years ago and has the exact same premise as Eat, Pray, Love, but got very good reviews. It has Gemma Atherton, and it's basically about a mother of 2 living in Britain.
Oh!
Do you remember this? And she leaves her self-obsessed husband and just buys a ticket to Paris.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. And been meaning to watch it.
Yeah, it was a shame I didn't. It probably would have been a good one, better thing, but... Oh well, you guys can all wait till April when Wild Rose comes out. Then you'll appreciate how apt this fucking thing was.
Yeah, for me, much like the piece of soundtrack that reminded me of a film that I couldn't quite put my finger on, there's a film somewhere in the recesses of my mind much like The Escape, is like this, but way more sophisticated and witty, and it hit all the same pleasure and aspiration points within my body. But I couldn't remember what that was. So I went through a series of films like, Amelie, Lost in Translation, Midnight in Paris, Die Hard, the Christmas special. All of which have, similar messages of letting go with certain hang-ups and appreciating the moment in the moment.
It's the best time to appreciate the moment.
Well, yes, easier said than done. Paul Julius Salt III. Yeah. But I am very happy to do this and finally recommend a Wes Anderson movie.
Yay!
In the Darjeeling Limited.
I did think about that.
Yeah. Now, it's similar to Eat, Pray, Love in that the characters are largely unsympathetic. Because they themselves are unsympathetic assholes.
Yeah.
Completely but triggered by the death of their father. Yeah, very self-obsessed. Triggered by the death of their father, they forsake their lives, including pregnant wives and some other things, to go off on an overt voyage of discovery through India. Because it's meant to be a spiritual holy place where they're going to go and find their mum, Angelica Houston. Yeah. As we all know, she's very elusive and likes to hide out in the Indian desert.
I couldn't even see her in the last Wes Anderson film. She's that elusive.
What was I saying? Angelica Houston jokes derailed me, sir.
Fuck it.
Which is apt because they also get derailed spiritually and physically on when they get kicked off their train. But it's a very interesting voyage of self-discovery because on one hand you do have the sort of the faux belief that everywhere in the East, the Orient is a very deeply spiritual place, just inherently by dint of being there, and but you've also got their sort of crippling insecurities and arrogance, just preventing them from making any real headway whatsoever. But it's just such a beautiful dynamic between the three main actors, Jason Schwartzman, Adrian Brody, and Owen Wilson. It does visually stimulate as well. There's some really gorgeous shots. It's actually just a very measured, well done character study of these three people who ultimately just have a lot of healing left to do.
Excellent. The one better thing.
Oh yeah, cool. And thanks Broad Appeal Pod for that fantastic recommendation. You said there is nothing good about Eat, Pray, Love, and we must be Paul Salt and Paul Goodman because we found one good thing.
Yeah, it's just that one.
Many one good things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Many
that one over there. Can you
incidental
see it?
moments.
Yeah. Yay.
And you had to shoot this plum. There's a thing. Shot the shit out of that.
That fucking plum.
And Richard Jenkins.
Beautiful. Look at the plum on that. So, yeah, and thank you to everybody for coming with us into 2019.
God, yeah.
Year of new resolutions.
Year of the donkey, probably.
Year of the donkey in Iraqi tradition, as we all know.
It gets understated, I think. It gets undersold. Everyone's always banging on about the Chinese. But, they've got a really rich calendar of animals over there in Iraq.
Yeah, well, you know what their problem is? They're between Chinese New Year and Vietnamese Tet. And what they need to do is get in there first, January the 2nd. Be like, now it's Iraqi New Year, everyone. Hooray! They all sing Ring of Fire on their New Year's
We're going to preempt the Vietnamese Tet. We're going to call it the Tet Offensive. I think that might have already been taken. I don't believe you. Shut up, John.
We're taking it back. Still not sure that's how that works either.
We're going to take it back in what I'm calling the Tet Offensive. If you ask me, mate, this whole thing's getting a bit offensive.
Off his head. Yeah. But it's a new year, so if you're looking for a New Year resolution that you can keep, maybe just leave us a review. A 5-star review for your favourite pools would be exactly what the doctor ordered for us pools. Maybe not for you.
For our chronic fatigue.
But a new 5-star review would definitely help me get out of bed in the morning so I could go face the crushing reality of my 5-day-a-week, 9-to-5 job with a little skip in my step.
Aw.
Go on.
Do it.
Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, send us an email at Gmail. It's all ogtpod, Gmail at ogtpod. And, Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy You're Near. And, I forget how I usually sign out. I'm Paul Salt.
Bye. I'm Paul Pray Love. I mean Paul Love. No, it's work.
No, fuck. I'm Paul Eat.
I'm Love Paul.
And remember, the one good thing about Eat, Paul Love is that those filmmakers really knew how to shoot a Richard Jenkins.